in what they learn here at our institution. I've learned that this historic institution in these beautiful hills has been the primary means of access to higher education for more than 52,000 alumni. Our alumni include folks like Billy Travis, who is this year is Kentucky Teacher of the Year. She was on campus the evening before last to address our minority students at a very special transition program to graduation. And Steve Inskeep, who is the host of Morning Edition on National Public Radio, probably the most popular program on NPR, is an MSU graduate. I've had countless people tell me that if it had not been for Morehead State University, they would not have had an opportunity to receive a college education. You ought to give yourself a round of applause for our faculty and staff. That is a tremendous statement and a great accomplishment. Our alumni are very proud of Morehead State and that we have always been an institution of opportunity for first-generation students. And being a first-generation college graduate myself, that is very important to me. That we are an excellent value for the money, and that students might not be able to go to college if we don't keep our tuition low here. That our faculty and staff are hardworking, they're creative, especially with new and emerging learning technologies that result in an excellent environment for education of our students. That we have been the state leader in reaching out into the Commonwealth. We have 5 regional campuses, more than any other state institution of our type, and that we have forged many partnerships. The University Center for the Mountains is an example, and many 2+2 programs with our community and technical college partners. We have pioneered with distance technology. We had the first online program in the Commonwealth, our MBA program. With the aforementioned as kind of a backdrop, I'd like to look forward and offer a vision for the future that I think would be very consistent with what some of the comments were from our greeters this morning. I would just remind you that the vision statement is a statement of that which we wish to become. It's a lofty ideal. It's future-oriented. It's a statement that should stir the imagination, and it should cause us to stretch in order to achieve it. It's the process of striving for that achievement, however, that enables us to create great transformations. Last year, the U.S. News and World Report identified Morehead State University as one of the top 25 regional universities of our type in the South, consisting of the 12 states from Kentucky to Florida and west to the Mississippi River. That's a very distinct honor, but we all know we can do better than that. So here's what I propose to our faculty, our staff, and others as a shared vision for our future. That Morehead State University aspire to be the best regional, comprehensive public university of our type in the South. Some of you may be thinking it's too lofty. Others may be thinking it's not lofty enough. There's no doubt this will be discussed and debated later. But I believe if we're able to achieve a vision, there are at least 8 critical factors or things that must occur in order for an institution to go from good to great. Let me share some of these with you. First and foremost, we must focus on the student as the learner and student success as the outcome. We must focus on the student as the learner and student success as the outcome. We must be willing to try new ways. This fall, we're going to initiate an undergraduate fellowship program where we will link high-performing students as undergraduates with high-performing faculty members. And the whole idea is to get students early on in their careers to link up and understand the research process so that our students will be encouraged and stimulated in that area. Most of you don't know that the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, that's a pretty good school up in New England, they use astronomy mapping software that was written here at Morehead State University by our students. They were suffering and studying under Professor Ben Malfris. Now think about that. That is a very, very significant thing. Secondly, we must strive to achieve excellence in everything that we do. We must challenge each other to be the very best we can be. The College of Business and the theater program here recently achieved the highest accreditation available, one indicator of excellence. Our students consistently beat the state and the national averages in getting admitted to their first choice schools for medicine, law, pharmacy, dentistry, PhD, and other graduate programs. I'm talking about students like Carla Blanton of Morgan County, who is now in New York City completing her residency in pediatric dentistry. Joe Dangole, the superintendent for Morgan County, is here this morning. I saw him come in. Hundreds of high school students contact us each year to inquire about our cheerleading squads. Why? Because they know about our 20 national championships, the most recent of which were this past year. They've watched us compete on ESPN, and they know we're the best in the country. Thirdly, we must recruit, retain, develop, and reward the very best faculty and staff. Faculty and staff are the heart of the institution. We must have the best in order to be the best. Jesse Stewart probably said it best when he said, and I quote, "I'm firm in my belief that a teacher lives on and through his," and I'll add, "or her students. Good teaching is forever, and the teacher is immortal." Fourth, we must offer educational programs and services that are relevant and effective in today's academic marketplace. Our new Master of Arts in Teaching is making a major impact on the shortage of teachers in critical areas in the P-12 schools because we dared to try a different fast-track approach for preparing them. At the baccalaureate level, we started a space science program, only the fourth such program in the country, and we started it because NASA and the aerospace industry are facing a critical shortage of scientists and technicians in the next 10 years. Fifth, we must provide support services, processes, and facilities that are appropriate, effective, and efficient. We're already learning that we must and we can do a better job with enrollment management services by recognizing that students have many choices. They will choose where they go and how they wish to learn. Hence, we've got to be prepared to offer them something that makes sense to them. Sixth, we must be resourceful and imaginative in our efforts to prepare those students that are underprepared that come to us and want to be successful in college. I have heard so many stories from our alums about the diamonds in the rough that were polished here at Morehead State University, and the faculty and staff did the polishing. 7, we must increase the number of alumni and friends who help support us through private giving. We just had the most successful spring gala ever 2 Saturday nights ago. That's an annual fundraiser here at the university that's been going on for about 10 years. We had 50 corporate sponsors and about 500 people here, and we raised $128,000 in one evening. It's a wonderful program, and that's a great accomplishment. But the reality is that we have to cultivate more friends like the late Thomas Curtis, a retired teacher from Johnson County, who scrimped and saved his entire life to enable others to earn an education through a scholarship endowment. Mr. Curtis left us $1.3 million. And finally, we must be aggressive in seeking new partnerships to solve mutual challenges. I cite a current and very good example of being open to new ways. We have a wonderful regional medical center here in town. Its name is St. Clair Regional Medical Center. They have a need for health education and research space. We at Morehead State need space for our growing programs in the health sciences. The University of Kentucky has some master's degree programs here that complement our health sciences mission, and they need better space. We formed a 3-way partnership, and the General Assembly, thanks to our good friends Rocky Atkins in the House, Charlie Borders in the Senate, both of whom are here today, provided us with $1.5 million this next fiscal year to start detailed planning for a $20 million facility that will result in improved health care, training, and more professionals that can impact the lives of those of us in East Kentucky. A similar scenario is unfolding in economic development as our new Space Science Center acts as a magnet for high-tech companies. In the same spirit, Congressman Hal Rogers is helping us with funding for an incubator to help start new companies. Morehead State University has developed an international reputation for cultural heritage programs, and we believe our folk art and traditional music can be translated into more jobs and marketing opportunities for regional artisans. In fact, we're in the early stages of development that could begin a regional crafts market on a scale similar to that of the Kentucky Artisan Center at Berea or the Tamarack Center in West Virginia. No such facility exists in the I-64 corridor, and we believe Morehead could be a prime location for such an enterprise. Higher education is the engine of high-tech economic development, and we must both seize and create those opportunities. The conversion of knowledge to careers will become more and more important in the future for Morehead State University. I'm pleased that since my arrival at MSU, it coincides with the state's development of a new 5-year strategic plan for higher education, and that all public universities are involved in the process. It's crucial that all of us be involved in charting the future of this great institution. We know that, in the words of late President John F. Kennedy, we must be willing to change. He said this, and I quote, "Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or present are certain to miss the future." In terms of where this fast-moving world is going and why we must keep pace, I was struck by this observation by the late futurist Alvin Toffler, who wrote, and I quote, "The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read nor write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn." Yes, I'd like to lead Morehead State University to greater heights, but I also want you to know that I share the sense of mission with those pioneers who brought higher learning to this beautiful valley nearly 118 years ago. I pledge to devote my best efforts to the leadership of the institution. Please leave here today knowing that I will continue to hold high our light to the mountains. I want to close with a wonderful story about Sir Christopher Wren, the great British architect who was visiting the construction site of St. Paul's Cathedral in London. He saw 2 stonecutters toiling away in the hot sun. The first didn't look too pleasant, and when asked what he was doing, he looked up from his work, wiped his brow, and he replied, "Can't you see I'm cutting stone?" Sir Christopher walked over to the second workman, also sweating, covered with dust and chips. When asked what he was doing, he smiled and said proudly, "I'm building a cathedral." Let us go about our business of building great minds with the same positive, uplifting attitude. Together, we can make this light to the mountains even burn brighter and cast its life-changing shadow even further. As president, I give my solemn vow that I will do my best to know the way, to go the way, and to show the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Andrews. You may be seated. We look forward to working with you and helping you achieve that future that you've laid out for us. We now invite you to stand with us as Ms. Janine Freeman leads the singing of the MSU alma mater. The words appear on the back cover of your printed program. Following the singing, please remain standing until the platform party and delegates leave the area. We remind you that a reception for faculty and staff and students will begin at 3 p.m. on the first floor of this building. Members of the general public are invited to attend the reception starting at 4:30 p.m. Those guests who will be joining President and Mrs. Andrews for lunch today are asked to move to the dining rooms as soon as possible after we are adjourned. We sincerely thank you for being with us today.